Start off. Thank you. I think we have to first start off and thank David for putting this together. I'm just the MC tonight, and he really did a great job setting all of this up and spending hours upon hours. He told me today that he was here till midnight last night, so he really put in a lot of work for this event. So thank you, David. And thank you to the students and staff that also helped too behind the scenes. You might not see them now, but they're there. And lastly, thanks to everybody for coming tonight. You know, we're all here for the same reason. I remember in 1991, I took my first cruise, and I got bit by the nautical bug then, and it never went away. And I think there's some iteration of that with all of us tonight. But the reality is that it really goes beyond just a cruise ship. The SS United States talks about American dominance, a spirit of a certain era, the pride that we had as a country that we can really do things and make things that go fast, right? And the artistry as well. So lots to talk about tonight. So I'm going to introduce people that are more important than me right now. So members of the coalition to save the SS United States. So I'm going to introduce them one by one, and if they just want to make a couple of remarks, that would be great. So Jim Kaplan.
Microphone.
We got to get you a mic.
Turn it on.
Turn it on.
Good.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Jim Kaplan. I'm a tax and estates lawyer, but also a writer and walking tour historian. And I'm the chairman of the Lower Manhattan Historical Association, which is a civic group that promotes New York history. And more recently, I'm a director and co-founder of the New York Coalition to Save the SS United States. Unlike other members of our board, I only recently became aware of the issues relating to the SS United States, which I think is true of many New Yorkers. When a colleague of mine told me about the attempt to site the ship on the west side of Manhattan, which had failed, and that it was facing eviction from the pier in Philadelphia where it had been for 28 years, I told my colleague that this sounded like one of the most important historical projects facing the city of New York in my years of experience, and one which we as an organization, the LMHA, should be involved with. We thus contacted our list of participants in prior historical activities, and the first person who called me back was Dan McEnany, who I hadn't known, but I now realize everybody involved with the ship knows him. Another person who came to our meeting was John Quadrosi, who's sitting next to me, who owns a pier in Gowanus, Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, obviously, and I almost immediately received a call from Jason Wade from Arizona, who said he was working full-time on saving the ship. Why he was in Arizona, I never knew, but anyhow. And Michael Lewis, who is works for the federal government in Washington, D.C. Thus, we had a diverse group, and we thus formed a New York not-for-profit organization called the Coalition to Save the SS United States. Shortly thereafter, once we were just getting organized, I was completely shocked, maybe others were too, to hear that the Conservancy, which had owned the ship, had sold it to Okaloosa County, which was paying $10 million to sink it for an artificial reef. I couldn't believe why the taxpayers of Okaloosa County would agree to pay $10 million to destroy the ship, which is one of America's greatest icons. After some delays, the Conservancy and Okaloosa in February, with great fanfare, has announced that the ship was moving out of Philadelphia to Mobile, Alabama for the first time in 28 years. And this was cited as a great victory on their part in its route to sinking the ship. However, from my point of view, and I think from our point of view, the ship sailing on the open sea where thousands could see it was a great victory for our cause, because thousands of people now saw the ship, they saw what it was like, they saw its majesty, and they also saw how ridiculous it would be to sink the ship. And we began to get numerous hits on our website, and thousands of people signed our petition opposing it. So that's where we are now. At this point, we have asked Okaloosa County and the federal government to reconsider their plan to sink the ship. We've said to Okaloosa County, can't you find another ship, and maybe we all could work together to save the ship. We'd like to work with them. We haven't heard from them yet, but hope springs eternal. We also, I think that the voyage has shown that the overwhelming majority of Americans, probably including many citizens of Okaloosa County, including many people in Alabama and throughout the South who saw the ship fund, agree with us that this ship must be saved, that it's essential to American history and to ourselves. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dan McEnany.
All right, thank you, Jim. Next, we have Dan McSweeney. If you want to pass the mic.
Dan
Dan.
McSweeney, I'm sorry.
McEnany sounds a little bit better, actually. I think I can go with that. Hey, everybody, how's it going? It's nice to see you. I know some of the people in the audience, and I know probably a lot of the people that are with us online. Also, thanks to our great team in California. They've been doing great work. It's wonderful to be here. And what I did in our little rehearsal when we ran through this is I started with a quote from The Godfather, which is, "Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in." And the reason I say that is I've been involved in the effort to repurpose and save the SS United States since about 1998 or so, when living in New York, I saw on the front page of Cranes, New York, a plan to bring the ship to Manhattan, make it a mixed-use project, including a hotel, restaurants, etc. Subsequent to that, I joined the Marines, and while I was on my way to Quantico in about 1999, I saw the ship in person for the first time in my life, and it was a profound moment for me because I had grown up hearing about the ship, and the ship for me was almost a mythical figure in my life, and the reason for that was that my father had been a crew member aboard the ship. He was originally from the UK and came to New York to work aboard the ship and stayed on for almost the entire career of the vessel. So this ship, for me and for many, many thousands of other people across the country and around the world, is a really important icon. And so what we're doing here tonight is asking ourselves and asking the public at large, can we do anything at this final moment to repurpose this vessel, to save this vessel, to give this vessel a lasting life? I think the answer is yes, and so that's why I've been pulled back in. I want to thank the folks from Tenafly that have done such an incredible job to put this together. They're really impressive. And just like this building that we're in, Tenafly High School, which is a mid-20th century building filled with mid-20th century artifacts, if you will, they're showing us that things like this are important, that repurposing and reusing the elements of our past is not a foolish thing. It's an important thing. It's a valuable thing. So thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Next member of the coalition is John Quadrozzi.
Hi, everybody. I am classified as a preservation partner in the coalition, the Coalition to Save the SS United States. I'm also a designer and fabricator, builder by practice, mainly industrial-grade trucks, various buildings, even horse stables, and ships too, commercial vessels I've had experience with. I'm also a ship and marine terminal owner, operator with experience in bulk cargoes. And this includes Guanas Bay Terminal, which is the subject location that we're looking to bring the SS United States. A brief introduction to my interest in the ship goes beyond just the current, but as a boy, I had an Uncle Willie, and my Uncle Willie was fascinated with all things maritime, and one of the things were the great ships. So when I go over his house, he would sit me down and pull out his books with the little flags in the pages and talk about the Andrea Doria, that sunk, the Normandy that burnt in Manhattan that I actually watched as a child. And he talked about the SS United States, which he felt was the greatest ship of all, and often referred to as the fastest ship ever built. When I was approached actually by Dan McSweeney some years ago, back in 2015, our location was considered as a place to put the vessel. And then he brought me back in again in the current time, Dan, and said, hey, the Conservancy that once owned the ship no longer owns it, and there's a new opportunity. And then to me it was just like, okay, so we're getting two shots at saving the ship. So this one we can't mess up. So my opinion is full steam ahead, which is a common phrase used for the ship. I'm hoping that we can work together with everyone here, everyone in the United States, the world, to save the ship, the SS United States. So thank you.
Thank you, John. And now joining us virtually from the coalition is, first up, Jason Wade.
Hello, my name is Jason Wade. I'm the Chief Preservation Officer for the New York Coalition to Save the SS United States. As an ocean liner enthusiast, I've spent basically my entire life studying these giants, superliners, ocean liners, steamships of all types. My interests span Egyptology, paleontology, and documenting urban landscapes. For those of you who don't know, I started out urban exploring as someone who explores abandoned places and documents them. And so I used to have my page Urbex by Jason, and that led me to the Queen Mary, which I'm so fortunate enough to be on board today, and it reinvigorated my passion for history and preserving ocean liners, and got me interested. I found out about the SS United States and what was going on with her, and felt that I needed to do something. So back in September, I started outreach and congressional, presidential, national parks, doing a lot of deep dive research into Section 106, environmental protections, different federal protections that afforded the ship protection over the last 75 years of her history. As the Chief Preservation Officer, it is my duty to ensure that the SS United States and her legacy are protected and safeguarded for future generations. A lot of people, in my experience, aren't familiar with this ship, and it is our duty in this mission that we're setting out to do to remind people what's important, what's at stake, and that the fact that Big U is not only the world's last superliner, but she is an American symbol of ingenuity and progress and unity. And together with the greater 48 states, this ship was put together. It's a symbol of the American dream, and that anything can happen from any walk of life as long as you apply yourself hard enough. And that's what we're doing here. So being on board the Queen Mary, she'll be 90 years old here soon enough. I'm on board with Mary of QMI, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be here fighting alongside everybody to make sure that we do all we can to save this piece of history before she's gone. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Jason. Next up, we have Mike Lewis.
Hi, I'm Mike Lewis. I'm the Executive Program Director for the Coalition. My work is really based on project management. That's what I offer to the firm here. We have a joint situation in this case where we're working to restore a ship, to save a ship, and also we're working to redevelop the area where the ship will be. So my background in architecture and both design and construction project management supports both of those aspects of our work. I spent a lot of time on the water during my childhood and into adulthood. I had a lot of sailing experience when I was young, And my father had a Merchant Marine card because he played the piano on cruise liners for the Grace Line. And my mother and I accompanied him on a couple of those cruises. Um, Later on, uh, during college and after college, I was in the Navy, and I was at sea on a destroyer for 6 years. As I got into my architecture career, that spanned not only architecture on land, but it also included doing some design work at General Dynamics Electric Boat Division in Groton, Connecticut. I worked on designing some of the submarines. I'm in Washington, D.C., but I come from New England, and I have commuted back and forth quite heavily. On my way up and down on 95 going through Philadelphia, I always looked over to make sure that the SS United States was there with fondness. And then I learned that the ship was sold and that it was going to be sunk as a reef. And I became very concerned about that because of the design aspects of the ship and the importance historically of the ship. So that led me to join the New York Coalition. My first contact was with Jason Wade. And so what we have is a ship that is not only a beautiful, outstanding piece of naval architecture, but it is also a ship that carried notables, from political notables to celebrities. And in both cases, that solidifies the ship's history as a good representative of something to preserve. And we're out to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And last, joining us virtually is Mary Rower.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Hi, everybody. Just want to say hello and thank you for tuning in today. I founded QMI, the community nonprofit for the Queen Mary, about 13 years ago. And since then, there's been many opportunities in learning about the Queen Mary's history that naturally I stumbled upon the history of the SS United States. It's in fact finding a lot of the friends that I had loved the two ships in common. I've made 2 trips to the ship. And what I saw was a blank canvas, an opportunity and hope. And we've followed it very closely for probably the past 5 or 6 years. We've contributed, we've had 2 exhibits on board to include the SS United States. There's currently an exhibit on board here down in the exhibit hall. And I don't think it really hit me until I saw the ship being towed. And that's when we really saw the possibility that she is the only liner left in the world that can sail the way she sailed, effortlessly, with no issues for 17 days. It just amazed me. So I was drawn to Jason Wade online, connected with him, and obviously offered any support that I could give on behalf of QMI, on behalf of all of our maritime friends. And, you know, you simply don't sink history. I grew up in Long Beach, and I think that what's going on with the world, with our maritime world, I think that we really need to revisit that, reinvest. And it's a beautiful ship, and people truly care about the ship. And I'm just honored to be here and working with this fine group of gentlemen that have made a stand for this ship. And I just implore everybody else to get involved, ask questions, and support however you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Let's have a round of applause for the coalition introductions. Now we're going to take a little bit of a break and take a look at a video that our really talented students were able to create some sketches of the SS United States, and I think we have that video queued up, correct, Dave? Okay, he needs a second, but until then, I took a look at them personally. I teach business, so I don't really get to see a lot of the talents, but I took a walk around before this started tonight, and I took a look at some of the artistry, and we have some really talented students here, and you're going to see it in a second with this video. Wow. Let's have a round of applause for those.
Those are incredible. Everyone in the audience, those beautiful, beautiful portraits done by those children.
Thank you, Jason. All right, next for our program tonight, we're going to talk about the progress update. So we're going to start off with Dan McSweeney.
Dan, actually, Dan and I switched last minute on that.
Okay, fair enough.
So, organizational. So to start things off, one of the biggest questions we've been getting in the community lately is if we are 501c3 and we can, without shadow of a doubt, say that we have submitted our application for 501c3 status and that we are in the process of getting that rolling as we speak. So when that becomes solidified, we'll obviously let you guys know through social media. Stay tuned for that as those details come in the future. In terms of our initiative, we've had a lot of great progress so far. Since we launched our Facebook back in January, we have almost 400,000 views on our profile. Mind-blowing. We started at the end of January, and it has taken off like wildfire, which is incredible. We have a little over 1,900 followers. We're pushing towards 2,000, and people are broadcasting our message so loud. It's traveling to YouTube. It's traveling through news articles. A couple of news entities have picked it up in Alabama, Florida, New York, and even in the UK, some other places as well. So we're definitely making good progress in our efforts. Our GoFundMe, we started that, and that is for the initiative to save the ship. In the meantime, while we're seeking assistance from the federal government, and that'll help us make sure that we're successful in the meantime. And we also have almost 7,000 signatures on our change.org petition. So at a minimum, 10,000 signatures means that the petition gets sent to the right entities and decision makers potentially can do something. Anything over 10,000 signatures is just a bonus. So right now, today, we're sitting at about 100 shy of 7,000. I'd love for it to go higher. If we can push to 10,000 or higher, that's definitely going to help us in our initiative. And then the last thing too, we've also established our presence. We're on X, we're on Blue Sky, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, Snapchat soon to come, but we're trying to make sure we're on all social media platforms, and we've been interacting with members in our community, doing TikTok and YouTube lives. So stay tuned. We definitely want to hear more from you guys. We definitely want to interact more with you.
All right, thank you, Jason. Next up,
And
we
then
will
Mary had a couple things too she wanted to add.
hear from Mary.
I just wanted to add to that, I've been assisting him with social media, and we're getting lots of questions, and to which we are answering most of the questions, everything that we can. We're tracking the questions, we're responding to people. That's a huge deal, because I think there's definitely some areas there that we can get the information out quicker. Social media seems to be the place that everybody's gathered. So if you do have questions, continue to send them to us through the website or on Facebook, and we definitely will get a response back to you. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that I know that is tagged on, especially Hector Aponte. He's been doing a great job of linking everybody to today's event and helping in general. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mary. All right, next we will talk about the progress update with Dan McSweeney.
Check, check. Thank you so much, Jason and Mary. That might be a little loud, Dave. But the Q&A that Mary referenced is critically important, and nobody wants to hear people talk all night about the ship. We all love it, we all know it, but we want to hear what's going on. So we're going to give a brief update on the development side of things, because believe it or not, this has been tried before. I am a co-founder of the Conservancy, which owned the ship previously and sold it to Okaloosa. And I can tell you, the people that were involved in the Conservancy were extremely smart, extremely committed, talented, well-intentioned people. And we and they did everything they could to make something happen. It didn't occur. And that's no fault of the Conservancy. They were in a chicken or egg situation, specifically because that vessel was in Philadelphia. And although there were possibilities to bring it to other places, for example, Brooklyn, which we'll hear about, the cost of bringing the ship to Brooklyn was beyond the financial means of the Conservancy. And so luckily, they had a relationship with RXR and other donors and investors or potential investors that allowed the ship to survive in Philly the way that it did for as long as it did. And so we should be grateful for all the people that were involved in that. So just a little bit of context with regard to the previous owners of the ship and how I've been involved in this and have seen so many different attempts to make this thing work. When it comes to making it work, it really depends on three interlocking questions. The first is, what are the regulatory aspects of making the ship safe for a second use or a third use? Those are federal, state, and city type regulations, and they've got to be answered, and they're quite challenging. They have to do with remediation, they have to do with dredging, all kinds of very complicated issues that are often very expensive. The second group of questions is, how does the ship become financially viable? Because we don't want this to be a charity case. We want this ship to have a productive life by hosting a number of different uses. For example, could it be dining? Could it be residential? Could it be retail? Could it be educational? Some combination of those types of uses combined together are what will make this thing viable and therefore successful over the long term. Then the third set of questions is, where will the ship go and how will it get there? We happen to think, as a New York coalition, that John Quadrosi at Gowanus Bay Terminal offers probably the best chance of success to make the ship live out a successful second life, and so that's why we're partnering so closely with him. So just want to reinforce that the people that have been involved in this thing over the long term have been well-intentioned, and we have attempted to do everything that we could to make it work. Clearly, it didn't work out, and so this, in my opinion, is a final effort to make something happen, and I think with the talent and the commitment that we have represented in this organization, I think we'll be able to do that. Final thing I will say is my personal estimate on what it will take is $20 million to make the ship what we call a white box in Brooklyn. So in other words, a blank space that's completely remediated, that has 2 or 3 decks that could be used for a variety of purposes, that's blasted and painted, and so it looks brand new, and that will itself, the appearance of the ship, near the Brooklyn Marine Terminal, which is right across from Gowanus Bay Terminal, is what's going to make this thing work. So we've had so many people try over so many years to make it happen. This, in my estimation, is the final effort, and I'm just grateful that we are here. I know there's a lot of people that don't necessarily think this can work. It's good to hear from them. We happen to think it will work, and we are committed to making it work, because if we don't, we lose this incredible symbol. So those are some of the facts and opinions that I'm offering here. As the rest of the development plan is described to you, please think about the questions that you want to ask, because the real value is in the give and take. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Dan. Next is Jim Mahoney.
Hi. I haven't introduced myself before. I'm not actually a member of the coalition board. I'm the attorney who has been a relative latecomer to the case and filed a federal lawsuit in Northern District of Florida just at the beginning of the month on March 2nd. A bit of background, I'm a maritime lawyer. I teach as an adjunct at SUNY Maritime College in the Bronx. I'm a graduate at that institution. And just on a personal note, I first saw the Big U when I was on my first ship in 1980 in Norfolk, and was docked nearby, and I just walked over and saw this beautiful, beautiful vessel. And that's actually my last memory of seeing the vessel. So the coalition only got formed in October of 2024 after, well, let me just give you a little background here. For 30 years, for 3 decades, that vessel sat in Philadelphia. For part of the time, it was owned by Norwegian Cruise Lines, then the Conservancy, and then all of a sudden, in 2024, Penn Warehousing decided they wanted more money, and they ended up suing in state court. That got removed to federal court. Make a long story short, the judge, I think she ruled correctly. She said, well, the contract says it's at this amount, and there's no limit to how long. But she said, well, you know, their demand for more, they're saying you got to vacate. So what did they tell the Conservancy? Well, after 3 decades of sitting there, the Conservancy had 3 months to move it, which is a crisis. I mean, you know, a 990-foot vessel has to be moved somewhere. It would have been nice if it had gone to Brooklyn. I think that would have worked, but it didn't happen. Anyway, now it's down in Alabama, ready to get chopped up and be sunk. So what did I do on March 2nd? Well, what I'm going to report here is three elements of what the coalition has done with our government intervention, or hopeful government intervention. And I'll do in the order of the Constitution. Congress first, right? Article 1, Congress. The coalition has written to Mark Kelly. Scott Kelly is his brother. Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, who introduced, along with 3 other legislators, the Ships for America Act, which is supposed to, if it passed, and probably I hope it will refurbish American shipbuilding and engineering. Anyway, we, the coalition, have asked Kelly to intervene, but Congress moves kind of slowly. All right, branch 2, and that's probably the most important one, is the executive. And on February 10th, I distributed some of these letters. The coalition wrote to the president, asking the president to take the ship for public use. Private property can be taken for public use under the Constitution by paying the owners just compensation. Okaloosa County has paid $1 million for the ship, paid some money to keep it at the yard for a while, not the yard, the Philadelphia pier. They also paid to have it towed down there. So maybe they get $2, $3, $4 million, whatever, from Uncle Sam. But it could happen. And in fact, there are two statutes from the 1970s that expressly authorize the taking of the United States for public use. The United States subsidized the building of this vessel at an unprecedented 50% back in the 40s. That was, a wonderful book, by the way. Got to give a plug for Stephen Ujafus's book. I'm just finishing it now. A whole history of the naval architect, William Francis Gibbs, who came up with the idea, and how there were these battles to even build it. And this is an American achievement beyond compare. But anyway, getting back to the storyline. The coalition has written to Trump asking the executive branch to step in and take the vessel for public use. Because if we don't, we're going to lose something forever. And the third branch, of course, some people call it the least dangerous branch, is the judiciary. And that's where I came in. On March 2nd, just before the ship arrived in Alabama, in fact, at 1:45, I filed this electronically because I wanted to have a date of March 2nd because I knew it was going to get into March 3rd. The coalition filed a case. Okaloosa County is the defendant. It's in federal court in the Northern District of Florida, where by fate or coincidence, I happen to have been admitted since 2012. I mean, and I get this call. I'm like, can you help us? Well, I happen to be admitted there. That's, I never did much work there, but I'm a maritime attorney under this one case. So the lawsuit doesn't seek any money. Most people think when you sue, you're looking for money. We're not suing Okaloosa County for money. What we're doing is trying to get a little time that Okaloosa County will, either under force of law or under force of moral courage, hold off cutting this vessel up. It's now in the Alabama shipyard. The goal is to sink it. So the superstructure, one of the things that made this vessel amazing, the superstructure is all aluminum because it's so light. So these stacks and everything above the main deck is made out of aluminum because it's super lightweight. And that's not going to be sunk. That's going to be cut up. But once it's cut off, game is over. Well, maybe you could reattach it. But, the bottom line is what we're asking for in the lawsuit, I framed it as interim or transient equitable relief. Equitable relief is when you ask a court to have a party do or not do something. And so that's what the lawsuit has asked for. At this point, I and Mr. Kaplan and David Burke, Dan Burke over there, have been on the phone with the Okaloosa County attorneys, and we've asked if they would just hold off. And they haven't said yes, but they haven't said no. And I'm hoping that, honestly, given the stakes here, that the owners of the vessel, which rightfully is Okaloosa County, will just at least wait and see if the executive branch weighs in on it. The executive branch is brand new, and you can make a lot of comments about what's going on in the White House, but the bottom line is it should get to the attention of the president, and I urge everybody to write, because history is being made right now. This is a crossroads, and if the vessel is sunk, that's it. It's gone. But this is an amazing American achievement. I really urge you to read that book. And if it doesn't get saved, okay, it's permanent. But if it just stays afloat for a little while longer, the options stay open. And the timing of everything, the Ships for America Act, Trump is on board with resurrecting American shipbuilding. Imagine if this could be a national landmark and a place where students, high school students, just like here in Tenafly, many of these students could go and be put up in a room and see this amazing achievement. But the engines don't have to work. Just look at the hull, look at the build, and get an introduction to what it means to be a naval architect or marine engineer, and have this as an education center. The possibilities are just, really, I don't know, what do I want to say, mind-boggling, mouth-watering? I mean, it's just, the possibilities are great, and yet here we are at the fringe, at the edge of possibly sinking it and closing all that off. So all I'm asking for in the lawsuit is time. And at this point, the county will put their answer in toward the end of the month, and I haven't made any motions in the case. If you want the judge to do something, you have to make a motion. But I'm really kind of hoping that the county will recognize what's at stake, that this is an interest of not just a local government on the Gulf of Mexico or America or Margaritaville, whatever you want to call that Gulf. But the bottom line is it's a national interest. This is something that the U.S. put a lot of effort and time and thought into to build, and it's something that we have, it's not been achieved before or since. Anyway, those are my closing thoughts. I'd like to open it up for questions if that's the next phase. And thank you.
It's still on. I'm going to turn them off, though. Be prepared.
All right, Anyone else from the panel?
Did you? Check 1, 2. Take this one. Yeah, just give it to
Anyone else from the panel would like to say something? Regards to progress, before we move on. John, go ahead.
Okay. So I was asked to speak about the plan that we've been developing for the ship.
Hello?
How about now? Good, okay, thank
Much
you.
better.
So the plan, the development ideas for the terminal, I'll speak briefly on. Gowanus Bay Terminal, we dub it GBX, is a large marine facility in South Red Hook, Brooklyn. Historically, it was built in 1922 by the state of New York as a terminus to revitalize the barge canal system, AKA Erie Canal, that we all know of. It was a public place, it was a public facility for the grainsmen to transport their grains by barge for transatlantic shipping markets. So, and it continues as a bulk facility today in some regards, not for grain, but construction and heavy materials, fuel oil, etc. Coincidentally, GBX was also the last mooring of the SS Normandy, the vessel I spoke of earlier, where my Uncle Willie sat and watched that ship burn in Manhattan. So its last destination was GBX, which is the same place where we're proposing to put the SS United States. So there's been a lot of questions about, well, will it fit there? It'll fit there, and we could put a few others if we need to. But also just coincidental that these ships keep coming to me in one form or another. So today, we're proposing the SS United States for Gowanus Bay Terminal. We are proposing a dynamic environment. Dan spoke a little bit where we're focusing on marine education. We also have programs for native saltwater marsh environmental remediation, classrooms for elementary school, upper school, and even international studies. Think of it as a global think tank aboard a ship. Additionally, we feel it will be wonderful cultural and community-type uses, including recreations, commercial shops, restaurants, etc. The ship has approximately 600,000 feet of space. So you can just imagine the possibilities. We're only touching on the obvious. We're proposing a phased development, like Dan also mentioned, where instead of just looking at the whole ball of wax and saying, oh, how much money it's going to cost to save the ship and where we're going to get the money. It can be done in a phased development, as many development projects are done. The World Trade Center was not filled up the first day they decided to build the World Trade Center. So phased development, leasing out spaces for various uses as we go along, and floor by floor continuing with that process. We're also entertaining community engagement in this as well. Thoughts about people from the community and all around the world. What can we do with this ship, this great ship? Oh, I have a comment here. So rather than having it lavish like it did in Philly, we would allow the ship develop in phases. And then I wrote, Rome wasn't built in a day. Rather, it was more of a process which we want to take on again with the SS United States in the 21st century. We see it as the big U taking another bite at the Big Apple, which was originally her home port. So thank you.
Thank you, John. Now, before we move on to the portion where we get questions and comments from the audience, both here and virtually, I'd like to show a little video on the SS Rotterdam to just bring some imagination of what could possibly be done with a very similar situation. So we have that queued up? Sure.
Who doesn't know the famous story about the grand old lady? Steamship the Rotterdam. My name is Casper van Horn from the Netherlands and I'm a developer and former co-owner of this beautiful ship. In 1959 the SS Rotterdam was built in the city of Rotterdam as flagship for Holland America Line. She is 750 feet long and could accommodate up to 1,400 guests. At that time she belonged to the 5 biggest ships in the world. It was 1997, and after 37 years of sailing the ocean successfully, she retired. In 2005, my company was in a lucky position to acquire the ship in cooperation with a social real estate company. And after a 5-year conversion, the ship is permanently moored at her place of birth, Rotterdam, the Netherlands. In a legal way, we turned the ship into a building. Facilities like water, electricity, waste and data are coming right from the pier. And now the SS Rotterdam is a unique 250-key hotel with function rooms, shops, restaurants, a business club and last but not least a true heritage museum with tours throughout the engine room. The ship is not a regular hotel but part of the neighborhood in terms of culture, history, tourism and maritime education. Please come over to the Netherlands and be our guests on board. Let the SS Rotterdam be a proof of concept for the future of the SS United States. The Dutch did it, and America must save the SS United States, now.
Excellent. Well, I say if the Dutch can do it, we can do it. Okay, next up, we're going to take some questions. I think we're going to start with questions here in person, and then that will give some time for Dave to get organized with the people virtually that might have some questions too. So anyone here in the audience have any questions or comments?
So
I'm going to
Scott,
go.
if I could just interrupt, maybe we have people that came a long distance, so if we could give them preferential treatment, and maybe we could mention who they are.
Sure. Okay, anyone that wants
maybe
to
they can,
introduce
you know,
themselves that have come a long way, come on up to the microphone.
And we have to limit the time also.
Now, can y'all hear me okay? I'm a retired sergeant major and my voice is not what it should be. I want to thank David for letting me invite myself up here. Like you, I have a passion for something that is on a very short lifeline. And why do I say that? Everyone knows what is going on with that ship. Now, I want to say this quickly if I can. To make America great again, we have to save what made America great. There's no question about it. That ship is the greatest symbol that has ever moved to represent the United States. Well, thank you. And I'd like you to look at a map right now of the United States. Start in Kittery, Maine. Go south, go south, go south, go through the Panama Canal, go north to Seattle. Every few hundred miles, you will see a memorial battleship, an aircraft carrier, submarine. If you go into any courthouse, courtyard, you'll see memorials to soldiers who fought in different wars. Follow that all the way around, and what will you not see is one ship of peace. Now, what does that say about us? That we can have all of these battle wagons, all of these carriers, and not one ship of peace. Now, there's 2 comments I'd like to make. SS United States was christened. Senator Connolly was there. He said, this is the greatest symbol of American peace ever. This proves to everybody that we don't need to build battleships. We don't need to build aircraft carriers. We can build peace ships. Mrs. Gibbs, what did she say about it? This is America's ship of peace. There has to be room someplace for there to be a ship of peace amongst all these ships of war. Thank you very much. I'm around the best people I could be. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Mike Dempsey. Anyone else here in the audience have any brief comments? Okay, I'll come over there. Want to come over here? Sure. If you can just state your name and... There you go.
Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, Vince Martemucci, a.k.a. Vince Martell from the Vanilla Fudge rock band. Anybody ever heard of Vanilla Fudge over here? I got some musician friends of mine. Anyway, oh, excuse me. I got to wipe the mic. My wife said, make sure you wipe the mic, so excuse me. Okay, anyway, yeah, I don't like the idea that anybody wants to sink this ship to start with, okay? I'm a Navy guy. I was in the Cuban crisis. I grew up as a kid watching these big, beautiful ships in New York. And this ship, we got to save this ship. We can't let Okaloosa County sink it. And in a little while, a friend of mine I'm going to bring up who is a diver who said, ain't going to be no sport diving. That's going to be too deep, 200 feet. But anyway, besides that, we want to save the ship. It's a beautiful ship. I commend you guys for what you're doing. And you guys, anybody know Tommy Finelli? No? Does it ring a bell? Here, dig it. He was with Scrap from Camden, New Jersey. He worked with John Reynolds and Nick Manzi, okay? So anyway, he's a good friend of mine. He worked on the ship. He bought 3 of the propellers to take them apart and, you know. And what I found out, too, yesterday, which is something else I really didn't like, is that after they cut the blades off the propellers, I think there was 5-bladed propellers and 4-bladed propellers, 2 and 2. There was four propellers. The ship was beautiful. What Mr. Gibbs did when he designed it, it was so fast. And for people who don't know, with the 4 propellers, 2 of them would cut down on the cavitation, the little bubbles that would slow down the ship. Well, this guy, Mr. Gibbs, figured all this stuff out, and this ship was so fast, for like 44 miles an hour in the ocean, you could pull water skiers across the ocean with this thing. Anyway, what I didn't like is when I heard, according to Tommy, my good friend of mine, he's a drummer. We're working this band down in South Jersey, Suitcase Murphy. And after they cut the blades off, I said, well, what did they do with the hub? They sold it. Why would you sell it? And who did they sell it to? The last thing I wanted to hear, China. I mean, in this country, we got to save what is historical for us. This ship is a fantastic ship. Everything about it. I wouldn't sell anything to anybody. I would just keep it. I think we have to get a hold of Okaloosa County and say, wait a minute, guys. You look at Facebook. There is so many people that love this ship that don't want it to go down. I was in the Navy. Sink something else. Don't sink this beautiful ship. So I'm in a band, Vanilla Fudge, famous band. We work with Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, everybody, on Ed Sullivan all the time. You could see us. Look up Vanilla Fudge. I'm the lead guitarist. I got a good friend of mine, Tom Stella, bass player. We're willing to do some concerts to raise public awareness of what's going on, because what I could see, I just found about this lately, 6 months ago or something. The publicity hasn't been out enough for the public. When they find out, anybody I talk to, any veterans, musicians, nobody wants to see this ship sunk. We want to save it. So we're willing to do concerts to raise public awareness. So we have to, I think, maybe get Okaloosa County to talk to. I talked to Craig Coffey down there from Okaloosa County, Anyway, he's a guy finally got, very hard to get any information. I finally got him, and I said, look, I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I don't like the idea they're going to sink the ship. He says, well, I'm a veteran too, so. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? Let's save the ship. That's all I'm trying to say. You guys, I got to commend you guys. Give these guys a round of applause for what they're trying to do to save this beautiful ship. All these guys. If we can get that Brooklyn thing to work, and let's get them to don't sink it, sink something else. This is a this represents, as this fellow said out here, this represents peace that the United States has to offer. So let's do that. We want to keep this ship, okay? I mean, I could keep talking, but let me get off. Thank you.
Do we have time for a few more brief comments?
Yes, I was going to say let's keep the comments limited. And Vinny, his song "Keep On Hanging On." We want to keep on hanging on a little bit longer, and invite. Do you want to go up? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We have one of our students. I think we should give our students priority.
Sure.
Mix it up a little bit. I'm going to see if anyone online would like to comment. If you raise your hand, I will see you, and I can take there. Oh, yes.
Sorry. Hello, my name's Peter Mitchell. I've come all the way from London, England, especially for this evening. So in 1935, we scrapped the RMS Olympic, the biggest mistake our country ever made. Nowadays, we would totally regret it in England. We didn't regret it at the time because it brought a lot of jobs, but now we regret it. And the same for the U. It's got to be saved. It's the fastest, the blue ribbon holder, and although I'm not American, it's a pride of your nation, and I totally understand where you're all coming from about trying to save it, and I totally agree with you 100%, and I totally support the coalition. And a little note to Oakland Council, please, please listen to us. This is the pride of your country. Do not sink this ship. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Heiler, we have Dr. George.
Really quick, I just wanted to give
Dr. George.
I want to give Peter a quick shout out too. Thank you, Peter, for your pledge and your support and giving as much support as we could ever ask for, sharing the word, communicating with Okaloosa County. We really appreciate you.
Josh, we're going to just let someone online speak first and stay right where you are. Don't move. We have Dr. George Anderson. Go right ahead. You have to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Mr. Anderson, and you can speak.
Greetings, everyone. I am a child of a woman from Newport News. I had family that helped build that ship. I'm the founder of America's Disabled Veterans in Action. We used to always advocate on our daily podcasts for the ship. I have seen the ship in New York. I boarded her in Norfolk when they sold off all the stuff, including her boats, her horns, all of that. And over the years, I've just watched as she's just sat, and I've hoped that we could help a little bit more. And I have ideas, some that I would like to talk to someone about privately for funding. The other thing that I want to say is that this is our nation's pride. I try to make sure that it stays before the veteran community on Facebook through America's Disabled Veterans in Action. I keep that up because, as everyone agrees, this was our biggest mission of peace. This ship took Grace Kelly. It carried Pearl Bailey. It carried John F. Kennedy. It starred in movies. I got a giggle out of the fact of the matter of the artwork of the children because I remember as a child doing the same thing myself because of going on Saturdays over to Weehawken and looking across the harbor and watching the ships dock on Saturday mornings. So the thing is that this is something that we have to save, and it's a real mission. And whatever I can do to make America's Disabled Veterans in Action platform for the SS United States, you have our full commitment to that. Because the ship was a troop transport. Whether you know it or not, it was designed to be converted in case we did go to war, that it could outrun torpedoes. They used to say you had to catch her to sink her. So now, if this is the case, we have to save this because this is going to inspire school children. When I see the drawings, I see the potential in America again. So let's work together and make this happen. Thank you.
Josh, you're on.
Hello, I'm Joshua Beaver, a Tenafly High School student. I'm here helping to film, but I simply just wanted to give a quick comment, and that is to say, first of all, how much I respect and admire all of you gentlemen's endeavor to protect and try to preserve this great staple of American history. But more importantly, I just wanted to personally feel compelled to say that, especially as a somewhat self-prescribed history enthusiast, I feel as if that more than ever, it's important that we remember that to know your history is to know yourself. And to know American history, to know the legacy of this country, is to know what America is. And what America is, it's the land of the free, it's the home of the brave, it's the place where anyone from the world can come here and achieve greatness. And this ship is a staple of that. The fact that the United States, being somewhat young nation at this point, I'd assume, and being able to come up with such a extreme and amazing feat of engineering is mind-boggling. So I just wanted to say that I respect you gentlemen for what you're doing here tonight. I'm more than honored to help film it, to help, contribute my part as a young person to helping the future, helping to have the future of America appreciated. And so that we can just remember that to know your history is to know yourself, and to know that if we learn our history, we can know that America has always been great. Thank you.
We're just going to go to someone online.
Okay.
Tracy Huth, you have your hand up. You can unmute yourself and talk if you'd like. Ms. Tracy Huth, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, very nicely.
Okay, I live all the way up in Missouri. I'm not even near water, but this ship has really caught my attention. I've been online. If you've been on any of the sites, SS United States or museum ships or anything, you've probably seen my post. I've also been on X, and I've really been promoting the hashtag Save SSUS. I've never had any views on any of my posts before, but I seen a promote button on my X. So I took a couple of the links from your sites and I promoted them for $100. And the first one, I was amazed because I got over 217,000 people impressions looking at that post within 2 hours. And it doesn't call, I did a second one as a test and I got over 100,000. And I was just wondering if it was something the coalition would do, because I really believe getting the word out about this ship is the key, the public outcry.
Thank you, Mr. Huth.
We'll take one from here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I was going to say really quick.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. I want to thank the coalition. My name is Tom Stella, a.k.a. Gaetano Antonino Stella, and I'd like to offer another perspective, one I think that it's very obvious. This ship of peace, which you so beautifully described, was built on an aircraft carrier keel. And my father, I call it the sisterhood of the seas. My father came over to America on the Andrea Doria, got a citizenship, came back to get us. And by the way, the Andrea Doria sank we came back to the United States and sank on the way back. And then came back and got us on the Cristoforo Colombo. And I was 8 years old at the time. In 1958, I became a naturalized American citizen in 2013. I loved history. That young man, I want to props to you, beautifully said. I taught history for about 20 years. Then I became a high school principal, all the while playing with Vince, playing music with Vince, my great avocation, which I get to do full time now. I'm a retired high school principal, and for a short while, an assistant superintendent of schools. There are so many Americans that came over on these vessels of that time, of that great, great era. We have to do whatever we can. I commend the coalition for all that you're doing. I just found out about it. Vince called me up just several days ago. And in that time, I am mobilized. And I will get the word out through all the folks that I know. And all of those people online, sign this petition. Let's get this thing done. God bless you all, and God bless the United States. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Another one from the audience here, Dave? Okay. We have one coming up. This is Mike.
Thank you. My name is Mike Turcott. I'm from Maine. Some of you have known me already. I've already spoken with Dan one time. I took an interest in this ship when they were trying to find a place to dock it last fall, and I suggested Eastport, and I talked with Warren Jones of the Conservancy. I love this ship. It's one of the greatest engineering feats that we've ever had. It's in a line of other ships that need to be saved and maintained. Having a ship like this is a lot of effort is in the maintenance. I have a question for Mr. Quadrosi, if I don't pronounce your name right. How much is it going to cost to refit your pier to accommodate this vessel? A couple million dollars.
Probably a couple of $1 million
Okay.
on the mooring. We're proposing something very similar to what you see on the SS Rotterdam, where you have structures in the water, and the vessel is not necessarily right against the dock. So this allows for greater movement of the ship, while allowing light to penetrate between the ship and the pier.
Okay.
For environmental.
So it's permanent mooring?
It'd be a permanent mooring.
It'll have all the electricity and the sewage and water and everything going through the dock, the terminal?
That would have to be designed, but we are proposing sustainable systems, water cleaning systems, natural power generation systems with solar and wind and so forth, and even something called anaerobic digesting, where we use food grade waste and produce energy from that. So there's a number of special things that we would like to do with the ship.
Okay. So I want to, some people have seen me post online. I did talk about converting the vessel into an accommodation vessel for to hold illegal aliens detainees. But a lot of that was, we want this big vessel to be this incubator is basically what you're asking. But the fact lies is that it costs money. Now, as far as Okaloosa is concerned, that ship's not going anywhere. It has a lot of life left. It's got 94% hull. Am I correct on that? Hull integrity left. Whether they sink it next week or they sink it 10 years from now, it's still going to be a viable project for them. As far as, we have a president who wants to get as many illegal detainees out of the country as possible. There's 716,000 in New York alone. If the money's there to convert the ship to the drawings that you want to put into it, to take that empty shell and put the rooms that accommodate the Coast Guard regulations. Once that ship is not used anymore for ICE or anybody else, it can go back into the hands here and be the incubator that you're trying to accomplish. And you talk about $20 million for the shell. I can tell you that up the freeway, the CSS Olympia, which was Admiral Dewey's or Commodore Dewey's flagship during the Spanish-American War in the Philippines, it needs $20 million, and it's rotting right there on the dock or the pier there. So I think there's a three-step process here. If you have a president who wants to be the greatest, has no one else could ever do it. I did it. If he puts his money into converting the ship into an accommodation vessel, which only takes about 9 months, can be done in Alabama. and then get new paint and bring it up here, you have the I would call it eye candy, but you have the tourist attraction right there. Once ICE is done with their roundup, then it can come over here and become the incubator and everything else. Later on, then Okaloosa can get the thing and sink it. This is a long shot. I understand that there's, but this is about money right now. This is about getting permission. This is more about prying it out of Okaloosa's hands. And that's the big thing right now.
We just hope Donald is listening. Mr. Trump, thank you.
Mr. Heiler, I have someone on the phone, Arlen Ettinger. He can introduce himself. He's trying to get into Zoom, not successful, but I believe he was to be one of the speakers. Mr. Ettinger, I put you on speakerphone.
Yes, Jason wanted him on.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
I hope I'm not interrupting at an incorrect time, but I'm delighted to be here. Let me introduce myself very quickly. I'm the president of Guernsey's, the New York City-based auction house. And is this any better? I'm off the speaker now. Early in 1984, I had heard through the grapevine that the SS United States was about to be towed out to sea, and the entire contents of the ship, everything from the linen to the lifeboats, was about to be dumped overboard. The ship for the prior 15 years had been kept in mothballs in Norfolk, Virginia, locked up by the government because, as many know, it was able to be used as a troop carrier in time of national emergency. So the government installed dehumidification equipment throughout the interior of the ship, covered the portholes and entryways with tar. So although the outside of the ship looked like hell, the inside was bone dry and pristine. But at that point, in 1979, thereabouts, after being in mothballs for 10 years, a West Coast syndicate acquired the ship for the purpose of converting her from the sleek ocean liner that she was to a slow-moving love boat-type cruise ship, capable of going from the West Coast to the East Coast via the Panama Canal, which it could squeak through literally by inches. And to convert her, to open up the enclosed promenades, and to make her comfortable for cruising in the gentle weather of the Caribbean, everything on board, the modernist design, was going to be eliminated. And the easiest way these owners saw fit to doing that was to tow her out to sea 400 miles with a big crew on board and dump everything into the Atlantic. I had seen that ship as a boy growing up in New York as it was docked on the Hudson, and I just couldn't conceive of such a dumping. I thought that was just a terrible situation. So I quickly went to the owners of the ship and proposed an auction as a way to preserve the items. They liked the idea so much that rather than go with me and our upstart little auction house, which had been in business a couple of years, they went to Sotheby's and Christie's, the world's largest auction house. Fortunately for us, Sotheby's and Christie's said if they had 10 years to produce that auction, it would be too logistically difficult. It just couldn't be done. So the owners of the ship came back to me, said, okay, big shot, you want to do it? You have 3 months. And that's where the saga really begins. And in discussions with Jason Wade of this wonderful group dedicated to preserving the ship, plans are afoot to take it from that point when we got started and to spend an evening where I'd be able to, for anyone interested, describe many of the remarkable circumstances that occurred over those next several months in producing what to this day ended up being the world's largest auction. So on that happy note, I'm, I wish you all the best in this effort to save the Big U, and that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have one more audience member here. My friend Fred Rodriguez was an actual crew member of the SS United States. Here, Freddie.
That was the Big U, I hope. I started at 6 years old. I saw the Revell model of that ship, and I was bitten by the bug, like Scott was. And doctors didn't know what it was. They finally called it shipitis. So I have been a merchant mariner, proud merchant mariner for 31 years. I still got my Z card and will always carry it. My forecastle was right up here on the port side. And I made 4 of her last 6 voyages on her. And I thank God she was American built like a destroyer. Anybody hear of Hurricane Camille, fall of '69? That was the worst hurricane, they said, in the world, according to NOAA. I went eastbound and came back westbound, and my forecastle was right here. You see the green up there in that flag? We went through that, and I was greener than Kelly for 2 days, up and down. Coming up, flipping like a dead fish, coming back down. I watched that, opened up the deadlight, and watched the washing machine effect. Of course, if the Commodore ever knew that, he'd have heart failure. I like the ship. It's a great ship. It does not need to become a fish farm down in the Okaloosa. It's made with pieces from 48 states. That's all we had in 1950s when they built the ship, from 48 states. She does not need to be sunk. She needs to be brought back to New York, and me, at 77, I would get up on the stern, the scaffolding, and redo the lettering on her stern that says, United States, New York, because that's where she belongs. She sailed from New York over and back. To sail on that ship was something else, and I knew the Commodore very well. Let's keep the ship intact. Don't take off her red, white, and blue crowns.
Thanks, Freddie. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. So I want to thank everyone. We have one more comment. Dan.
I want to just synthesize a lot of what I heard this evening because thank God there is the goodwill by so many people to get involved and to have this sentiment that the ship needs to be saved. However, sentiment is really not enough, unfortunately. What we need is investors, we need government support, and we need to expand this community of people that believe in the future of the ship. Without those 3 things, without one of those 3 things, we will fail. So I just want us to be real about what we're facing, number 1. Number 2, it's fascinating that the gentleman from Maine has proposed the ship as a place for detainees on their way out of the country when the purpose of the vessel in so many ways was to bring immigrants into America. I do not agree personally with that as a use for the vessel. However, there are a variety of opinions, there are a variety of political perspectives. That is reality. And all of us must come together and do what we can. Sign the petition, raise money, contact Congress, write to the White House, etc. if this thing's going to work, because if we don't do that, we're going to fail once again, and we will never have the opportunity again. So I don't want to end on a negative note. I want to end on a note of gratitude for the incredible community online and here in this room, and for the Tenafly people that have made this a reality as our first step forward. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight.
We have unfortunately, we have 5 people that wanted to say something online and probably 1 person there, but we do have a hard stop. We have to conclude. It's my fault. My apologies that we have to do that. With that, we will go off the air. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.